Advisor. He was a member of the winning 2008 Barack Obama campaign. Julius, it's good to have you with us here again on the day.
Great to be with you.
What has changed since we last talked? What has changed since Iowa?
Well, three things. I think the first thing is momentum. People looked at Bernie Sanders as the outsider. Nobody was sure whether he could perform in Iowa, and he sure did. Almost came in first place, just a few votes short of Hillary Clinton. The second thing is, I think the momentum that he picked up in terms of money, in terms of donations that he came in with. The campaign said that it raised $3 million right after the almost victory in Iowa. And the third thing is the tone. The tone of the campaign has really taken a negative turn.
Yeah.
We saw the Democratic debate. Certainly attacks coming in from
Especially
both sides.
Against Rubio, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Both sides, on the Republican side and, of course, the Democratic side.
Let's talk a little bit about money. You mentioned that. How much money are we talking about? How much was spent in Iowa taking us to New Hampshire?
There's so many different numbers. Of course, there's super PACs, these outside groups that can pour into almost unlimited amounts of money into this race. I think the number that stood out to me is $2,800. And $2,800 is the amount that the Jeb Bush campaign spent on each single vote
in Iowa. Okay, well, all right, let's get our heads around that. $2,800 per vote.
Right.
And he still didn't come in second place.
He came in at 2.8%. So, you know, from a return on investment perspective, of course, this was money not well spent.
I mean, if you were his campaign advisor, what would you say to him after that dismal dividend?
I think we need to change a few things. And I think that's what the Bush campaign is looking at. Of course, now, looking at the demographics, this is going to change for Jeb Bush. I think there's, in New Hampshire, there's a different electorate here for him. But overall, the Bush campaign, of course, has to shake things up. But in the end, nobody's looking at Jeb Bush right now as the main contender.
It's just amazing that much money per vote to be spent. Okay, let's talk also, you mentioned the tone of the campaigns. The level of vulgarity in this campaign. I mean, I've seen a lot of campaigns. I've never seen anything like this. I'm sure it's the same for you. Donald Trump, of course, the leader in this. We've got a clip. We want to show our viewers. We can't really repeat what he said on the air. We've bleeped it out. But take a look at what we can show you.
Some people, she just said a terrible thing. You know what she said? Shout it out, because I don't want to... Okay, you're not allowed to say, and I never expect to hear that from you again. She said, I never expect to hear that from you again. She said he's a That's terrible. Terrible.
Unbelievable. I mean, we can't let him, you know, we had to beep it out, but it does, it has something in common with a punk band from Russia, is all I can say right now. But talk to me a little bit. Who is he speaking to by using that kind of language?
Well, first of all, I think we have to look at the rise of Donald Trump. And people have been saying over the last month that, you know, he is not connecting to voters. And of course he is. I mean, he's up high in the polls. People looking at him right now as the main contender for the next couple of primary elections. The tone of this campaign, I think, has taken a radical shift. Remember 2008, the Obama campaign, Hope and Change. Yeah. That was certainly something else. And even on the Democratic side, with Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders now picking up the gloves and throwing punches, the tone has changed.
But they're still not using that type of vulgarity, though. I mean, even in the debate last week with Hillary and Bernie, there were even moments when they you know, lauded and complimented each other.
Absolutely, and it is completely different on the Democratic side. There's always policy involved. There's a jab with policy. On the Republican side, it is nasty. And again, it's a different electorate. There's still the primary electorate that we have to wrap our heads around. And Trump, I mean, he's connecting so far.
Quickly, before we let you go, there are a lot of undecided voters in New Hampshire. Why?
Well, people, especially in New Hampshire, especially Iowa, those early primary states where the campaign hasn't been fought out for such a long time, are still wrapping their heads around who's going to be the person that I want to vote for. They take their role very seriously, and first in the nation primaries to make sure that they get those candidates right. They have seen so much of them over the last months. Now it's a time for those campaigns to really connect with those voters, to have those individual conversations at the doorsteps one more time, and to make sure that they turn out and vote. It's a terrible weather out there, and I think if the snow continues, we'll see poor voter turnout, which can benefit some candidates, certainly.
Yeah. Always a pleasure to have you, Julius von der Laar. Appreciate you coming in and talking with us about the U.S. campaign for the White House. Well, this is the day coming up. Former Greek